Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson and I'm wearing cat ears. It's the Trans Club. We're gonna talk about some things today. Oh my God. All right, so it's been a little bit of a hectic journey this past few days. I have been dealing with a lot of work, a lot of things, and I don't even really know what I'm gonna talk about. So this is one of those exploratory things where you probably know a little bit more about what we're gonna cover. But I do these occasionally to just kind of talk and wander and think about things. And maybe this will help you process some intangibles or things that you may not be necessarily thinking about, but would like to think about and process. So the first thing that's kind of coming up for me is something that I've been dealing with and something cool to think about is the external system. The part of you within you that is feeling things and experiencing things. And you may say, well, that's just me. And aren't I just a person that's experiencing things internally and externally? Well, yes, but what part of you is you versus what part of you is your thoughts and the constructs and all of the things that have been imposed upon you and created upon you and installed and injected. I use a lube injector, so when I say injected, that's the first thing I think of. But like, you know, it's like when you are a child, when you are young, when you are not completely conscious of what's going on, there's a part of you that actually non-consensually agrees to a lot of principles and perceptions and ways the world works and reality and all of these things that we now take for granted and we also share in common so that way we can talk and have a culture where we can say, yeah, I understand where they're coming from because I am a part of that culture, or the opposite where you are not a part of that culture, right? So this is kind of like dialing into your programming and who you are. And as a person who is either trans or questioning, this is probably one of the more important fundamentals that I think a lot of trans people get wrong because they don't know about this and they don't examine it as closely as I think they should. So here we are. This is what we're talking about. The most essential and most important thing about you and your transition is understanding who you really are and bringing that forth into the world, right? So in examining and seeing yourself and looking at yourself, the way that you identify and see yourself and the narrative that you create around yourself is the thing that you become attached to because it's your identity and you say, this is me, I'm trans or I'm not trans, I'm smart or I have this history or this is where I'm from. This is like your constructed identity that you become attached to and then allow to have a life of its own, and it really becomes kind of like an anchor in your life. When you feel lost, you just go back to your identity, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, you may be like, oh, like, I don't know what's going on. And then suddenly a story goes on, which is like, okay, I'm here. This is my day. This is who I am. This is my life. And I just become a part of that. And you don't normally think about this very consciously. You just engage because this is life and that's all there is. Or is there? So that's a bigger question. How do I construct this in a much smaller way? Okay, bring it back to yourself, Ashley. What have you been doing? Ah, yes. Distinguishing between what is you and what is not you in a very, very simplistic, overly simplistic way. The frustration, the anger, the upsetness, the sadness, the depression, all of the negativity, even some of the positivity, your conditionals, the things that you're conditionally liking someone for, like I conditionally love you because you do X, Y, and Z for me. These kinds of things. There's a part of this that is you and there's a part of this that is not you. And distinguishing these two things is going to really help you in your transition, in the way that you change and you evolve and you become a new person. Because if you don't answer this question, when I say, who are you? And you say, who am I? And you don't have that anchor, you don't have that place to call in the part of you that is just innately you and is unshakable. That's the part of you that needs to come out, that needs to come to the forefront and understand that it's safe, that it's safe to be you, and it's empowering. It's special for you to be there and to show up in this way, because so many people don't know how to show up in this way. So many people are beaten down and oppressed through their childhood, and they just become, this society can make it seem like you're not allowed to be here. You're not allowed to be in the shape and form that you innately are. And so you take on these beliefs and you believe in such a way where you're like, oh, well, I'm not who I am and no one else is who they are, and that's okay, and I don't need to talk about any of these things that I actually feel because my feelings aren't valid, or to talk about those things is not acceptable. Have you ever thought that or ever felt that? So these are the things where you need to find that who are you part. And I want you to ask yourself this throughout the day today, several times. Just ask, I don't want to say who am I, because that's actually a really big question. I want you to say this, where is me? Where is me? That doesn't make sense from a word perspective, but it also does make sense because you need to find where your consciousness is, and you want to call in me, as in I. So where is me? Is this me? Where's me right now? Okay, here I am. Okay, now these thoughts, this negativity, these things that I'm feeling, is that me? No, okay, well, then I don't need to believe in these thoughts. I don't need to engage in these constructs because they're not me. It's this is the most essential tip. This is the simplest way that I can frame it, because the other part is an hours-long conversation, probably in my book somewhere. But that's the part, where is you? Hi, I'm Ashley, and we don't speak English here. So ask yourself, where is me? And if you have trouble with that, just say, is this me? But I kind of when I ask myself this question, I say, is this me? And I look for where I am within me to find the me. And I feel it within my body. I feel it within my chest. I feel it here, present in the heart. I then feel nervousness, and I feel uncomfortableness sometimes in being here because it disconnects me from my mind, and my mind is often in control and has power, and maybe your mind has a lot of the control and power because that's how we live in our society, that's how we engage, and that's what we celebrate, which is your mind is the most important thing, not your heart, right? We live in a world that's dominated by the mind. So when you navigate to your heart, or you find a part in your body of your consciousness where you start to anchor yourself there may be, what comes up? There may be a discomfort. And so pay attention to that discomfort, notice that discomfort, and become familiar with it. You don't need to reject discomfort, you just need to understand it. You need to feel it and know what it is, what it feels like, and what's there. So I am going to be running now because I'm now late, but I need to make this video for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please support me on Patreon and check out the Trans Club. It's a community for trans folks and trans questioning people, and we just chat there. I'm around, but it's really about the community. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.